Hello and welcome to episode number 17. I'm Siobhan Lyon.
I'm Paul Gill. On the podcast today, we're talking about your internal voice. I would have assumed that everybody had an internal voice, but not everybody does.
Really?
There are certain people, they reckon it's got to do with their development in the womb, that don't have this internal voice. But when I say internal voice to you, what pops up in your head?
Oh, like inner critic is the first person that comes into my head, like the person who, I talk to myself in my own head with. But like that, Paul, there are several parts. Like I wouldn't say there's just one internal voice.
You have a lot
in
of critics
head.
in there.
There's a lot. Well, there's only one critic.
One critic.
And then there's somebody else who, the other voice, will say to me, "Oh, that's a great job, well done." And
the opposite of your critic.
And then I have child is in there, child is giddy and excited and all the rest. And
it is important to stress at this stage that we're not talking about people who have multiple personalities.
Yeah.
Or it's perfectly normal and natural to have this internal dialogue going on.
Yeah.
And we're going to discuss in this podcast why it goes on. And it's something that doesn't have to be fixed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It can be useful.
Yeah. It's better to understand, yourself more on a broader spectrum, I suppose, really, than, discounting it and saying, Jesus, I still mad. But we did touch on this before in one of our earlier podcasts anyway, about, the person who's walking down there. Is Eckhart Tolle, I think, talks about this. He's on a bus, right? He tells this story where he's on a bus and there's a woman on the bus and she clearly, has schizophrenia or something like that. She's talking to herself and she has this external dialogue. So she's talking candidly to this person. She's giving out and having a full-blown argument and everything. And he hops off the bus and everyone is looking at her going, God, she's crazy, she's mad, and all these horrible things are being said. And he walks into the bathroom and suddenly he has the realization that the exact same dialogue is going on internally in his own head.
Yeah.
And he has this realization that we're all doing the same thing that woman is doing, and she's just doing it externally.
Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, so she probably could have had dementia. Dementia is one of those conditions that people start talking up these things. Yeah. I think schizophrenia is another condition that it's a sign of as well. But it's a running commentary, isn't it, on life?
Yeah.
And when you cop on to the fact that this is running in your mind, you can tell a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
Because again, it's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
When you're walking down the street and you see something, you don't feel neutral about it. Whether it's a person or whether it's a thing, you give a commentary about that. Like you could be crossing the road and somebody beeps the horn at you and you can, it's more of this. That's like that fecker that, nearly crashed into me there, 3 weeks ago or 3 years ago, 30 years ago,
or
whatever.
Driving a big Merc as well.
Nothing wrong with Merc drivers.
Yeah.
But we do give a commentary, or even like if you're going across to a shopping centre, you go, this place is very busy today, and where am I going to get a place to park? And whatever. Why do you need to be saying that?
Yeah.
Why can't you just seamlessly just go find a place to park? Because it's part of our awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we are beings, we are human beings. We're not so much we're observers of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that to me is the key to change, I suppose, within somebody, because you need to know that there's something that needs to be changed. You need to be observant and kind of go, yes, right. So that thing there needs to be changed. And even doing that's internal dialogue as well. Of course, I'm expressing it out in this. Yeah. But what I find interesting is that, is it a monologue that's going on in your head? Are you saying, I need to be more of this. I need to sort my life out. I need to. Or is there another voice kind of going, you need to start exercising, you need to work more, you need to save more?
Yeah.
And if that voice is a you, who is that? And that kind of gets you into, like, typically could be a parent.
Yeah.
Teacher.
Yeah. They say it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
So when you think about that statement in itself, like, who's involved in a child's life? It's the mother, the father, the brothers, the sisters, the grandparents, the teachers, all the way through the child's life. That full community is around them. So they don't just pick up what, like, I suppose historically we used to think, the mother, the primary caregiver, is responsible for everything that happens to a child or for the child's outcomes as an adult. But it's not actually true.
Yeah.
There are lots of people, influence a child's behavior and their thoughts about themselves and their thoughts about other people and other things.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing we're taught when we go to school, oh, this color is yellow, this one is blue. You know, you're
Yeah.
taught to differentiate the difference between
But
things.
yeah, but I bring in another word here. You're told everything as a child.
You are actually,
And that's
yeah.
what these voices
Yeah.
are still doing in your head all these years later. They're
Yeah.
telling you stuff.
Yeah.
And if they're reprimanding you,
Mm.
it's more likely to be one of those voices that originally reprimanded you.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
definitely.
you learn
Yeah.
that is the voice that
Yeah.
goes with.
Yeah. When I'm working with my clients and we do some ego states therapy, for example, Dr. Michael Patterson is an amazing guy at this. Actually, he's a top professional in Ireland around ego state therapy, and his work with clients is just fascinating. Like, you know, he really does work with all the separate parts of the person, you know, and really normalizes those parts, you know what I mean, as being different for different reasons. And he gets his clients as well to put names on them. So, you know, that's what I would do as well. I would say, well, you know, who is this voice, this critical voice? You know, who does it remind you of? Especially when a client comes to me and they say, I'm no good, I'm useless, my life is, you know, my life's destroyed, I've destroyed my life. Or who's saying that?
Yeah. Do you find this, Siobhan, that sometimes somebody, say for example, she's in a bad marriage, she's living with a dominating man, that when you get into it, it's like she's married her father.
Oh yeah.
That she's replaced her father with this other voice and does the same function.
It's actually so freaky, but I see my own marriage taking the same strides nearly as my parents' marriage did. Just at certain times in our life, things went exactly the same way. It's like a mirror image of my mother and father's marriage.
Yeah. So
not in every way, just in
subconsciously,
some ways.
then you're kind of like almost have an expectation that this is the way, this is the path that it's going to run, because that's my experience.
Both of us have changed so much. Like, we're very different people. I would even say that you and I have really broken the chain, you know, of events that would have happened. But still, then to see characteristics of my mum come out in me, or my father or his parents come out in him, super weird.
History repeating itself.
Yeah, it is like history repeating itself. It's scary, you know.
Yeah. Do you know what popped into my head there too was in children, this inner voice can develop into an imaginary friend.
Yeah.
Where it becomes a separate part of them.
Yeah.
And usually it's an opposite part of them, from what I understand.
Yeah, they're more confident, or something like that.
They can be an extroverted, the child is an introvert, etc. And it's a compensatory thing to it allows them.
To the safety, because it's outside of themselves. So that's why they remove it. So child psychology is very, very simple and very interesting. Actually, the way a child thinks about things in the world is just very black and white up until the age of 7, until they start to develop an awareness then of death and danger and things like that they don't have before that. So I often say to people, like, when you're a child and you go through something really traumatic, like, you're going to go through that traumatic event maybe 3 more times. So when you turn 7, you have a different experience of it, or a different memory of it. And then when you turn 13, again you change, and then 17, 18, and then into your 20s, your view of that situation at that time will change again, or you'll have a different awareness. It's like, you know, if you grow up in a violent home, for example, you know, whilst you're in it as a child, you think that's normal, and your internal dialogue is scared and it's talking in a different way. But then when you come to an adult, your internal dialogue or internal person can turn into quite an angry person, and can be saying, Jesus, that was horrific that went on there, and be really mad at your parents for putting you through such a thing, and how could they, you know, abuse the children in the home like that, and, you know, cause such problems. Yeah. So then you just, all these people kind of add on in your head, I think, don't they?
Yeah. I do a little bit of amateur dramatics, and I was involved in a play recently, Philadelphia, Here I Come.
Amateur dramatics.
Yeah.
He's drama all the time, lads.
Yeah.
I know he's not.
Anyways, my point was that in the play, some of you will know, Philadelphia, Here I Come.
Oh, I love that.
The main character, Gar, he's got an external voice. There's Private Gar, and there's this other voice. And Gar, the play is about Gar's an opportunity to leave Ireland to go have a new life in Philadelphia, but he's kind of caught in this dilemma: should I really go? There's part of him wants to stay, there's another part of him wants to go. You get these two voices, and there's a different actor on the stage that acts out Private Gar and Public Gar. And it's interesting to hear this dialogue just out and out, and people can can recognize it because
They
you kind of
relate,
go,
'cause everybody has
me.
that.
Yeah, there's a part like where the canon comes in every night to play drafts or chess with the father of the priest, and Gar is absolutely fed up with this. He predicts the conversation every time and everything that they're going to do, and it shows how bored he is with humdrum life in a small little town in Ireland. But you hear all of this going out, and that's what we do all the time. But we're watching telly, watching a play, anything. We're given a commentary on.
Yeah.
You know, I think the only exception to that was at a book launch there during the week. Amy Barry had a book, Flirting with Tigers, lovely book of poems.
Cool.
But while she was reading the poems, I realized I was in the poem, but I didn't realize that I had been in the poem until she finished reading it. I thought, that's a nice experience, because there was no dialogue or because I didn't know what she was going to read next, because I had the book. But I was looking at the words, but not reading them. I was letting her read the words for me.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting way of just feeling in the moment and feeling what she was saying and getting what she was saying without commentary on it.
Yeah.
So that was like, it wasn't so much at first, but it was certainly a different state of mind. So I realized then too that this commentary goes on day and night. It never stops. And it takes place in dreaming.
Yeah.
I'm a great dreamer, I would say, but I'm not particularly a visual dreamer.
Okay.
And sometimes I will dream in the sense of something. I'll get a feeling for almost like a different character or a person in the thing, rather than seeing them as a person in it. And that includes voices as well. You can have this voice, whether you can actually hear it or whether it's a voice that's going in your head that is not your voice. It's another part of you, and it's doing the same thing that you're doing during the day. It's very interesting to be able to watch it play out in a dream.
I've never had that experience, I don't think. Like, I've never been aware of it, I suppose, until now. So when you do, like, I know you have a book on dreams. I read it, and it's actually a brilliant book. You should look it up, lads. It's fantastic. But it's a lovely expression of, what your dreams are like, and an explanation of what's going on in them, because it really makes you think then, geez, what's going on in my own dreams,
Yeah. And what's going on
fascinating.
What's going on during the day.
Yeah. But you can see then how your dreams do actually relate. Like, there could be 3 people in the room in your dream, but they're all, expressions of yourself, going through different things. One person's very quiet and not saying anything. Yeah. Somebody else can be shouting.
Yeah. Did you notice too that sometimes we talk to ourselves if we're trying to work out a problem or a situation? Yeah,
I do that all the time. Yeah. I have a constant dialogue going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother talks to herself a lot now, but you can hear her saying, "Oh yeah, I need to do that. I need to put that in the laundry, and I need to." Well, she's quite elderly at this point, and she's, but it's all stuff that would have been going on silently in her head. Yeah. But now I can hear her thinking.
Yeah. Oh
it's the
God.
thing. But if you
do
remember,
you think that's easier for her then to stay focused?
It is because it helps you remember things as well. If you're setting out what you need to be doing. Yeah. It gets it clear in your head. I do this and I do this and I do that.
As you're saying, well, I'm going from here to here, and we do that a lot in eye movements and in EMDR. We kind of you're moving a person in and out of the subconscious part of the brain from left to right, to evoke the memories or to bring them up, I suppose.
Yeah, and you can tell sometimes when people that internal dialogue is going on because of the movement of the eyes. Yeah, I would have said in a previous video, but it's part of NLP. It's eye movements. You can tell what way a person is thinking by watching what way their eyes move. So a simplistic, basic thing is that when somebody's thinking in terms of sound, their eyes will kind of move to the left or to the right. It won't move up or necessarily down, but it's kind of left or to right, depending on whether they're accessing imagination or memory. Yeah.
Investigators use this actually as well, NLP, don't they? They're trained in it for negotiating and also for interrogation. Yeah. It's like that they can tell whether somebody is dying or lying, not dying.
I tell you an interesting thing. I was listening to Keith Barry on radio yesterday. Good. And he was doing he was promoting his new show, and he was doing some tricks with the presenter, and he had her he was talking about lying and about being able to identify when somebody was lying. So he had her roll a dice, but he couldn't see what number she got. And it's obviously it's a number between 1 and 6. Yeah. And then he would ask her, we're looking at you, he said, I want you to reply no to every question. Is it a 1? She got no. Is it a 2? No. Is it? And he could tell by the difference in one of those no's what number she had rolled the dice.
Wow.
And he got them all right.
Oh my God.
Interesting thing was, I was
Yeah.
driving my car, I got them all right as well.
Really?
I noticed something
Just
in
from
her
the
voice.
tone?
In her voice.
Wow. They say
Now,
if you have an inflection,
there
your
can be
voice
that.
gets
There's something,
inflected.
yeah. And he was watching her nasal nose flares or shoulders move or whatever,
Wow.
which I didn't have access to
Yeah.
at the time. But I could tell. I was thinking,
Yeah.
interesting. I got them.
You could hear
I got
it.
them all right. Keith's
I love it.
fantastic.
So you can
Brilliant.
never lie to Paul, lads. He's just going to see through it or hear through it. You don't have to be in front of him.
Isn't it interesting too? I've had somebody with this, probably on maybe 2 occasions, where there's a song stuck in their head and they can't get it out.
Yes. Oh my God, my husband does this to me all the time.
Does he?
Paul. He's a devil. He changes the words of the song though to something that he shouldn't change it to.
Okay.
It really gets stuck in my head and I can't get it out.
Right.
Oh, it's horrendous. You know, it's one of them things you really don't want to have stuck in your head, but it just keeps going around and around. It's fucking dead. Oh my God, it's terrible.
But some people, this can be so intrusive that they can't get this song out of their heads. I remember watching on, I think it was Arrested Development, Chattanooga Choo Choo, I think his name of the song. This guy was saying, my uncle or my father's going to be calling, and he's always humming this song. And once you hear him humming it, you can never get it out of your head. And I was watching it, I was in my head after the show. It was there the next day. I was telling somebody about it, and then it was in his head. It was like contagion.
Oh God, yeah.
But you get that. You get that too with films. So you can relive a scene in a particular film.
Yeah, Snatch years ago. Snatch was oh God, came out in 2000 or something like that. Brad Pitt was in it. He's a pikey. He's over
traveler.
Yeah, he's a traveler, and they call it themselves the pikeys or whatever over there. But then there's gangsters, UK gangsters. Like it's a really gangster film, like Snatch.
Yeah,
yeah. Your man that talks about the pigs, like he says, you discard of a body, the pigs will eat everything, bar the teeth or something. I'm like, oh, that really got stuck in my head. I couldn't. I
was going to say you could investigate that and kind of go, why? How many bodies have you hidden over the years?
There's a couple, all right, that I wouldn't mind have hidden a few years back.
You've moved house several times, haven't you? Always a suspicion there. So if I'm on my own doing this podcast next week, you'll understand. She's been carted off somewhere.
Somebody's on to me, lads. You know, I've just been found out.
Isn't the eternal voice? Isn't it very good though when you want to regulate yourself? When you've let things get out of control. Some aspect of your life. Yeah.
Because they're really positive parts as well. Like I have a positive part that kind of helps me heal, and a positive part that helps me go, I'm okay. There. It's a real mother one, you know. It's real comfort and it's nurturing and caring and that as well. Like, so I don't think all internal voices are, you know, negative things or instructive, you know.
But they can. When I was a kid, I remember somebody getting a tape recorder and we were up playing football, and he started doing a commentary as if he was doing a commentary on the match, so cool. And you could hear what he was saying.
Yeah.
But even the next day when he wasn't there, you were still doing a commentary thing yourself.
Yes.
You learned to do it. And even when I used to be running or doing athletics, it was the same kind of thing. He would be commentary, and then you were imagining what he would be saying about you.
Yeah. Yes.
And
actually,
and that kind of perpetuate. You get into the realm of fantasy then and imagination. Yeah.
Which is very child state, isn't it?
It is, but and I kind of thought, well, you know, if this helps, if it helps me run better, play football better, then it's a good thing. Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah, it propels you forward.
Yeah. Because I suppose when the guy is commentating, when he's actually there commentating, he's saying stuff that other people are standing around the pitch thinking. Yeah. You know.
I love it.
Yeah. So if they're thinking it, then now you're thinking it is contagious. Yeah.
Let us know about your internal commentary. Just give us a comment down below or something like that, and just let us know, like, what are your internal dialogues and what do they mean to you? We'd love to hear more from you guys to see what you think about them. So that brings us to the end of our podcast for today. Okay. Thanks a million for listening and tuning in, and as always, like us, share,
download, subscribe.
Yeah, do all those nice things for us to help us stay going.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, guys.